Okay, the question is, how does meditation influence identification? Now, in individuals who do not meditate, for the most part, their sense of identity is limited to what we call the ego, which is the center of integration for the conscious mind. And through that center, they're aware of their life experience. They're aware of their particular roles that they play, their sense of personal identity. They're aware of their thoughts through the faculty of reason. They're aware of their feelings. They're aware of what's going on inside their body, in the senses around them. And they're aware of their movement and their sense of the present time. But they have no sense beyond that. So people who meditate focus on deeper centers within. They may focus upon the attentional principle, the spirit, the self, a nucleus of identity, or the soul, what we call generically a ensouling entity. Now, when a person places their attention on one of these centers, at first they begin to form certain associations to those centers. An example, if you go to church, and in that church they bring people up to the level of the Christ child, or what we call the moon soul nucleus of identity, you may hear certain songs that remind you of that center. There may be certain memories you have of maybe someone was preaching a sermon and reminded you of some of your sense of the world that you have from that perspective. Or they might have awakened that aspect which we call the moral will inside that encouraged you to reform yourself and to live a better life. So you have certain associations which you form with that center. And then as you continue to meditate, you may find that your attention will begin to hover at that level, that you actually feel that you're in union with that state of consciousness. And at some later time, you may begin to feel that you are that state of consciousness, that you are the Christ child or moon soul, or any other center that you are meditating upon. So this is where association of the attention with one of these inner centers brings about the state of identification. So you'll find that many people who begin to go to a religious group where they emphasize a particular inner center will begin to start to think of themselves in that way, and may even identify themselves as being a born-again Christian, for example, or identifying themselves as being a person who's on the Muslim path, that one is a Muslim and one is identified with that nucleus of identity of that particular supercosmic path, where one becomes one with the cosmic consciousness nucleus of identity, where they feel that they are the spirit. They identify with the spirit on perhaps one of the transcendental paths. So just by meditating, you facilitate the ability to identify with these inner centers that are beyond the experience of the ego.